Today on the news and why it matters, CNN bashes half the country, but they're totally unbiased, don't worry. Also, President Trump and Netanyahu unveil a Middle East peace plan with a two-state solution. Will it be accepted? We got a lot to get into, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined once again by the one and only Glenn Beck. He needs no introduction. We all know who he is. The one and only.
Isn't that sad?
Colonel.
That's
no,
sad.
isn't that sad? Yaku Boyens, back again, filmmaker and president and founder of Share Together. Thank you for being here again.
To be here.
And we've got another female, which I always love when we've got a female in the house, Aubrey Irolls, political commentator Aubrey Irolls. Thank you so much for being here. You know, we gotta, every once in a while, we gotta get some estrogen going in here and liven it up with these guys.
You're on fire, it's a redhead.
I know. Oh, I knew what I was doing here. Okay. We got a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Black Rifle Coffee Company. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you go with Black Rifle, you can get gigantic, patriotic, 5 pounds worth of coffee. And this isn't just any coffee. This is the CAF blend, which means it's double caffeinated, which is the kind that I drink in the morning, which is why I'm like this all day. Black Rifle is, it's owned by veterans. So, you know, if you love America, maybe you should check it out. And they do premium small batch roast to order. So you know that you're getting the freshest coffee anytime you place your order. They've got the highest quality beans from around the world. They roast the coffee for you after you place that order. They also have Black Rifle Coffee Club, which means that you can have it shipped directly to your home or office. And you get a discount on top of that. And then you're not at 11 o'clock at night trying to load your coffee maker if you still have a regular coffee maker and you go, oh crap, we're out of coffee and I got to go to the grocery store at 11 o'clock at night. You don't have to do that because they're already delivering it to your door. Wake up to America's coffee. You can go to blackriflecoffee.com/Y. You will get 20% off if you enter discount code Y. And that includes, by the way, the Black Rifle Coffee Club. So you're getting a discount when you join the club, and you're getting a discount on top of that. No reason not to do it. I mean, again, if you love America. blackriflecoffee.com/Y. Enter promo code Y for that 20% off. All right, CNN. Don Lemon specifically, which I don't know, maybe the 5 people watching Don Lemon's show really got a kick out of this particular segment. Now, I will say this segment that we are about to watch happened over the weekend. However, it did not really catch America's attention until President Trump tweeted it out because, again, there's 5 people watching Don Lemon's show, but here is...
And 7 of them are in the control room. Yeah, 2 of them are not even paying attention to the show.
That's a great point. Thank you for pointing that out. So here is Don Lemon and his guests showing exactly what they think about people in America who support President Trump. Watch.
And obviously it's false. And look, he also knows deep in his heart that Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, you know, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience, you know, the credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one, and y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading. You know, your geography, knowing other countries, sipping your latte,
all those lines on the map.
Only them elitists know where Ukraine is. Sorry.
Side-splittingly hilarious, Glenn. So funny, making fun of half the country.
So I started my day at 8 o'clock Central doing a monologue on this. And I might have lost my stack. And
a little bit.
A little bit, but only for about 22 minutes. And what really set me off is this is what people in New York, in the press, in Washington, Republicans as well, many times, this is what they really actually believe about the rest of the country. And I would I said this morning, I have not been this close to just embracing secession. Go ahead, take the frickin' coasts. Take them.
Yeah.
But we're going to build a wall, and you're not coming in.
Yeah.
Try to do it without us. Try to do it without us. You couldn't. They have such disrespect for the people that work hard every day and they think we're rubes because we dress differently and we talk with an accent, some of us. Just because you have an English accent doesn't mean you're smarter. You know, I don't know if they know that about the Queen and the royals. And then on top of it, it's Don Lemon.
Yeah.
Don frickin' Lemon, who I don't know how many times asked me, well, but you do admit that you divided the country. I'm going to lose my stack again. If anybody asks me this again in the mainstream media, I'm going to blow up. My head will explode, and they'll have Glen meat all over them. And I look forward to it. They are so self-unaware that they actually can do this and still ask people like us, you're dividing America. You know, you are really causing real trouble for us. You know, we feel a little unsafe because of you guys and the way you feel about us. How about the way you treat us? How about the way I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. I won't go on.
I'm liking it, Glenn.
I can't.
I like the fire. I like the passion. I'll tell you this. Look, this is a guy. Look, I told you this before. The accuser accuses you of what he's guilty of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always. There's an idiot sitting, cannot talk about anything of any substance, and has to make jokes of a crane in a country. Completely ridiculous, right? Because they have nothing to talk about. Nothing they've done for the last decade has any substance, is built on any foundation whatsoever, and nor have they seen Middle America ever, right? We should strap that guy to the back of a tractor and drag him to the cornfields in Omaha, Nebraska, in Minnesota, and make him understand where the food that he eats every day comes from, because they can't grow anything on the East Coast.
Because you're from Africa, I'm going to just inform you kindly, the dragging behind, not a good reference here in America.
Well, no, I'm just saying, look, and what I mean by that is this. Go work with a farmer that loads the flatbed, right? The disrespect, because we do. I speak at college campuses across this country, right? And they actually talk about, hey, listen, we feel disrespected. We feel overlooked. They call themselves the flyover states, right? Because it's coast to coast. Because it is, and I hear you, Glenn, and thank you for the correction. But look, I'm also just kind of tired because I appreciate this country, Sarah, Glenn. I am an immigrant. I'm a legal immigrant. And I can tell you what it looks like when it's not like this. I can tell you when it looks like when a siren goes off 5 o'clock in the afternoon and black people have to go hide in the streets, because I lived it. I lived with real segregation on the streets, and I've seen things. And then this is the kind of guy that his world falls apart when his latte is not the right temperature.
Exactly right.
Okay, and so the reference I make is not out of disrespect. It's just out of frustration, saying there are people, black, white, Hispanic, all race, gender, culture, creed, in the middle of America and Texas, who grow food, who pray for rain, who really sweat, so that guys on the coast can operate in their high towers.
And this isn't just an East Coast elitism. I was working on a project, and we had to move some gigantic rocks. I mean, gigantic rocks. And we had to move them, and then we had to put this rubber liner down. We were redoing a pond. Had to put this gigantic rubber liner down. And you know, the white guy is the guy who is in charge of the crew, and he's like, we need to get more men here. We're going to have to do it tomorrow. And the guy who didn't speak a word of English, went, no. And he tied it together in the most ingenious way ever. But he was just dismissed as he doesn't have any good ideas because he doesn't speak English. This belittles people. It just belittles people, and it turns them into your enemy because they think you are their enemy.
Yeah. Aubrey.
I actually think Trump voters should be really excited about this. I mean, I think this is exactly the type of stuff that galvanizes the base. They see the disrespect, and you have the people that are kind of on the border going, I don't know about Trump. Maybe he doesn't need 4 more years. They see stuff like this and go, nope, we're going to vote him in, if for no other reason than to piss these liberals off. And I think it's a bad strategy for them going into this election year.
I agree with that.
And your background is libertarian.
I'm on the libertarian side
Right,
of things.
so-
Full disclosure, not a Trump voter, but I just
But I
call
think
things
that's
like I see them.
And I think that is very important, and that lends a lot of credibility to this particular conversation.
That's why I listened to Alan Dershowitz last night.
Yeah.
Because Alan Dershowitz said, I hated Nixon, I liked Clinton, but I testified in both of those, in defense of both of them, and I do it here. And I'm not a supporter. I voted for Hillary Clinton. Quote, I just love my country. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Can we finally get to some people who just they don't care about what's happening right now except what's happening to us in our relationships? Mm-hmm. This was so incredibly divisive, and they do it every day, all the time, and they don't care. Is there anyone who is willing to say, look, what Donald Trump did today, is there a single person in CARE, is there a single person in Congress today that will say, wow, Donald Trump proposed a 2-state solution. And the way he talked about the Palestinians was eloquent, and I actually do believe he believes that. Sometimes he gives speeches and I'm not sure when he's reading it, he really believes. I believe that's the way he feels about the Palestinians. It was remarkable what happened. Nobody in Congress, nobody on the left, nobody that cares about the Palestinians. They won't say anything good about it. Guaranteed.
Well, more on that 2-state solution, the unveiled Middle East peace plan when we come back.
Did you guys see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See it? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not going to go for it.
They're not going to go for it.
They're not going to go for it because they don't want.
Before we get back into the conversation, we would like to thank our new sponsor of the program, Grove Collaborative. Now, living healthy is more than just eating right. It's about ridding potentially harmful chemicals wherever you can. I obviously am a firm believer of this. You guys know I'm like the conservative hippie over here, okay? So you've got the soaps and the detergents you use to maybe even the cloth you use to wash your face. Healthy, plant-based, non-toxic cleaning products work, all right? And the good ones are actually more enjoyable to use and they smell nice. But where do you start? Who do you trust? That is where Grove Collaborative comes in. Grove Collaborative is the online marketplace. It delivers all natural home, beauty, personal care products directly to you. I visited the website. I'm actually super excited because I have my package sitting on my doorstep. About 10 minutes after I left to come up to the studio, I got a notification saying that my package was on my doorstep. I was like, dang it, I wanted to open my Grove package before I got here. But it's super convenient. It's got all of the top products and at an amazing, amazing price. I used to have to go to Whole Foods and pay like $100,000 for my cleaning products. I don't have to do that anymore. I can get them from Grove. You can go to grove.co/news. You will get a free 5-piece cleaning set from Mrs. Meyer and Grove. Mrs. Meyer, that's a really, really good brand.
Good brand.
It is grove.co/news. Grove.co/news. Go visit it if you are concerned at all about your health and making sure that you keep your home non-toxic. So President Trump held a joint news conference with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu today. They unveiled their joint 2-state solution Middle East plan. And Netanyahu was, of course, full of praise for President Trump. Here's a little bit of what that looked like.
Today, I just want to say 2 words. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for Israel, for recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, for moving your embassy there, for recognizing our sovereignty in the Golan Heights, for recognizing our rights in Judea, Samaria, the heartland of our biblical homeland, for the unprecedented security and intelligence cooperation between our 2 countries.
Now, President Trump later tweeted out a picture of the proposed map, and there is a tunnel connecting the West Bank and Gaza. He said, my vision presents a win-win situation for both sides. Today, Israel has taken a giant step toward peace. Of course, this is what everyone keeps asking for, right? A 2-state solution. Glenn, how do you think it will be received?
By Israel, probably okay. I have to look at the map, but probably okay. But by the Palestinians, not at all. The goal of the Palestinians, and I don't mean necessarily the people,
right,
but the Palestinian government, the Palestinian politicians, they have no intention of peace. They have no intention of a two-state. They are a one-state, and Israel is not a state. They are as clear as the Nazis were on liquidating the Jews and making sure that they do not have their homeland. It'll be interesting to see that all the people have been clamoring for a two-state solution. Well, here's a step in that direction. Where is Ilhan Omar today on the two-state solution? Because the president, when he outlined it, when he spoke about the Palestinians and what this could mean to the Palestinians, if I were Palestinian, if I believed, our side, so indoctrinated that you don't, but if you believed our side, what he was offering was tempting, really tempting. It's worth sitting down and talk about. Yeah. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yaku, now, according to this plan, the Palestinians would have to reach certain benchmarks in order to achieve a state. So they would have to root out terrorism, stop what they call pay to slay, and implement steps toward free speech and other political reforms.
Doesn't seem like a high bar.
It doesn't.
No, it's not.
But will it be achieved?
Like a high bar. And I think Glenn made a good point off camera as well. For the people, no, but for the leadership, the agenda, the higher brow in the Palestinian leadership team want war. They want, they want conflict with Israel. So I agree with Glenn. I don't know. I hope this goes over well and there's a real conversation and people sit at the table, right? Because people suffer. Just hardworking people inside Israel and in the West Bank. People, children suffer. Yeah. This is for generations, right? So I hope they can sit down and be civil about it. But I want to reflect just on one little thing. What our president did is significant, and it's worth talking about again. And there's Benjamin Netanyahu saying again, look, just thank you, 2 words, thank you. For the Israeli people, the Jewish people, and I've got strong Jewish roots in my family, right? It's very significant because it is so huge because you were not a people, you were not a state for so long, and then go, oh, we're a people again. And now the nation, the freest nation, says we're going to recognize that we're actually going to do something about it. And now look at the response of other nations saying, well, we're going to move embassies into Jerusalem and we're going to start recognizing it as a state. So it's huge. So there's been a big victory for Israel last year. I would like to see a big victory for the region, right? For them to sit down here. And again, he's leading. Glenn is saying, you wanted to talk about, a two-state situation. Here it is.
Right.
Here's a real proposal on the table. It's not a gimmick. I mean, will it fly? I don't know, but at least
sit down and talk about it.
Sit down. Yeah.
Aubrey, what's your take on the plan?
I worry that Israel's tone is a little blameworthy. It's, hey, we're willing to recognize this. As long as you have to get rid of the terrorists, you have to do this, that, the other. Obviously, all good things. And no, it doesn't sound like a high bar, but just given the history of the two, it sounds a little inflammatory. So I do wonder how they're going to react to that.
How else would you say that?
I think maybe you don't bring it out in the press conference the way, you just don't make it as because let's be honest, a lot of Americans have no idea what's happening over there. They couldn't tell you anything about the history. And I think trotting out further bad feelings between the two, that kind of makes the Americans start to go, well, I'm going to take their side, I'm going to take their side. And I don't know that that's necessarily helpful.
But how do the Israelis respond if you offer this kind of a solution without in the press conference saying, look, Israel, you're going to give up a lot of stuff. You don't want a two-state solution. You don't want that. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Israel. They're living on top of each other. This is not a big space. You don't have to say no to terror. I mean, I don't know how you get either side of the table.
Two sides just shoot it down immediately, right? Israel would never even sit at the table if you.
No, because they keep giving land and then nothing happens.
Glenn, you mentioned before the break that you didn't foresee, I guess, any Democrat leaders, certainly in America, giving kudos to President Trump for this particular peace plan. I just wanted to read Chris Murphy. He, of course, weighed in on it. Chris Murphy from Connecticut. He said, He met this morning at the White House with Jared Kushner. He said, I appreciate the meeting. I gave them my unvarnished opinion on their so-called, quote, peace plan, which in reality is a total abandonment of decades of U.S. middle policy. He said,
yes, because it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. Our State Department should shutter the frickin' doors of the State Department. What we've done at the State Department for the last 100 years in butting into everybody's business, getting into everybody's wars, and jamming our Constitution and our ideas of freedom down people's throat doesn't work. It's good that this is off the rails of the State Department.
Which they used to admit before Donald Trump became president. I feel like they used to hold that position.
They used to all say, oh, this doesn't work. Why are we involved everywhere?
involved?
Now,
Right.
oh no, we got to be involved in everywhere.
Right.
They used to agree to a lot that's happening now that they all of a sudden don't agree with.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
I'm going to go for,
Yes.
I'm going to go
Yes.
next week, we're doing a special next Thursday. And it's a lot further than you think. And everything they ever said about Ronald Reagan, oh my gosh, wait until you see it. Just show me the difference. Show me the difference. They are doing everything they say they despise and everything that all Americans have woken up to and went, we shouldn't do that anymore.
yeah.
All right, back in a minute.
The cultural boundaries that they.
Before we go into overtime, President Trump's legal team, they closed out their opening statements today. Alan Dershowitz had a really great moment during all of these defense opening statements. He started to give a list of presidents who have been accused of abuse of power and therefore would be subject to impeachment under these new Democrat guidelines. Here's a little bit of that.
I will now give you a list of presidents who in our history have been accused of abusing their power, who would be subject to impeachment under the House manager's view of the Constitution. George Washington, refusal to turn over documents related to the Jay Treaty. John Adams, signing and enforcing the Alien and Sedition laws. Thomas Jefferson, purchasing Louisiana without congressional authorization. I'll go on. John Quincy Adams, Martin Van Buren, John Tyler, arbitrary, despotic, and corrupt use of the veto power. James Polk, here I quote Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln accused Polk of abusing his power of his office, contemptuously disregarding the Constitution, usurping the role of Congress, and assuming the role of dictator. He didn't seek to impeach him, he just sought to defeat him. Abraham Lincoln was accused of abusing his power for suspending the writ of habeas corpus during the Civil War. President Grant, Grover Cleveland, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan.
Glenn, your thoughts?
I thought he was on my show for about an hour, maybe a week or two ago, and we talked about his case. And I thought he was wrong at the time. But he said, just listen, I've read every bit from every founder. And he said, I'm telling you, just listen to it. And I did. Last night I watched it. I think he's right. And his point is, we didn't want to be a parliamentary system where it's just a vote of no confidence, because that you'll just go through presidents like England goes through prime ministers. That's not our system. And they were very clear on that. And he explained, high crimes and misdemeanors, that whole thing. You should watch that. But he said, Congress is now expanding this. We've built our civilization on basically the back of Blackstone's law. And in that, the idea was, when you're not sure if the law covers something, then you must rule more narrowly. You don't open it up wider, because that just leads to all kinds of problems. So if you're in doubt, you narrow and the Democrats are just expanding it, and expanding it to a point to, I can guarantee you, if they would remove him from office on these charges, the Republicans will do exactly the same thing, and we will have a parliamentary system, and it will be bad.
Amen. Coming up in overtime, the Trump administration will move forward with a rule barring green cards to immigrants who've used government benefits following a huge victory from the Supreme Court and the coronavirus. Once again, go to BlazeTV.com to watch it.